go in one direction with it is short-sighted in the long run in terms of our partnership with Caltrans and what we need to achieve when we go to the blueprinting process, when we look at regional transportation goals and objectives, and a more comprehensive planning process for the future. I don't think this narrow application takes us there. So I'd like Mr. Dow to address the 1B and various issues with respect to STIP funding.
Certainly the chair is momentarily left. I certainly want to hear from Executive Director Dow as well. But, you know, let me just say that the list that we put forth for 1B was heavy on maintenance projects.
Right.
But it did include bridges, the seismic retrofit program, moving forward with the conclusion of a very hard-fought environmental process on East Side Potter Valley Road. We tried to pick projects. One of the requirements of 1B is that the funds from the time they're applied for are utilized within 3 years. I mean, the intent of the legislation was to get the money out there. So the Department of Transportation, as a strategy, has tried to state projects in the budget narrative that are achievable within 3 years. And I am happy to report that of the funds we received in the 07-08 budget year, and even the supplemental fund that we received on the last day of the 07-08 budget year, are all spoken for. The only hang-ups, and it's very common to have hang-ups, are on some of the seismic bridge program projects, because whenever you get federal highways involved and more, you know, layers of bureaucracy, it slows things down. The chip seal and overlay projects went forward really. Now I'm on. Okay. You know, have progressed real nicely this last summer. So, you know, I think the department understands that projects and contribution to project is appropriate use of 1B. The board did adopt those projects. I want to make sure that a project we put on the list is achievable within the 3 years. All that being said, the highway intersection projects are lined up in such a way, and their target dates are within 3 years. So for this coming budget year, the reason I included them in the budget narrative is because they would line up as we look at future distributions. And with that, through the chair, Supervisor Smith has asked for Executive Director Dow's comments, and I think now might be a good time for him to talk about that.
Mr. Dow, please step forward.
Mr. Chair, members of the board, I guess I didn't get out of here fast enough. I was relatively unscathed for a while. I have to concur with everything that Mr. DeShield has said about the program. It was designed to get money out to local governments so that they can get projects done, get people to work, spend money, invest in either deteriorating system, and it's also your choice. It's a local option to decide what projects you think are appropriate and fit the bill, meets that category. And I know that it all comes down to Simpson Lane, and I'm prepared to say a few things about that. This particular project is something that I don't know where it was ever on your countywide priority list, but I've been aware that it's met the warrants for signalization for quite some time, and that sooner or later we would have to deal with it. I'm not sure how it came up, but it has over the past year, and the state wanted to look into doing another warrant study. It met the warrant study for signalization, and that means that there are serious enough problems there that you need an additional layer of traffic control to some respect. Caltrans took the opportunity to making a presentation at one of our technical advisory committees just about a year ago that we happened to have on the coast in Fort Bragg. And after hearing some of the public speak about what their concerns with the intersection and what their concerns were with a signal, after the meeting, I called Caltrans and encouraged their project engineer to look into a roundabout at that location, and didn't receive a whole lot of support initially, and then over time they drew their expert in these things in Sacramento and came to the conclusion that, yeah, we should look at that also as a design option. It's not really a traffic control device, but it's a design feature that more or less would take care of the problem. And then over time, after they investigated it more carefully, they came to the conclusion this summer that it would really be their preferred alternative. And in looking at what the costs are, the total cost, the total cost of a roundabout is actually a little more than the signalized intersection, but Caltrans, because of the environmental consequences that they encountered in treating it with a signal, came to the conclusion that it would actually be better to invest in a roundabout, and they're more enthusiastic in doing that and commit resources that they have right now out of proportion to what it would be for a signalized intersection. So the bottom line is that it is something over a